Welcome to In the Studio, where we talk all things art with the artists who live it. Today, I'm joined by artist and business owner Vanessa Rivera. We talk about how art found her, how it's become a healing tool, and the business she built that connects kids, culture, and creativity. We're here with Vanessa Rivera, artist and founder of Artsy Kids, and we're here in her gallery space. Let's get into your background as an artist.
Becoming an artist was an interesting journey for me because I don't have any artists in my family. That was never a career that people around me had. Art for me was always just like a safe place, somewhere where I could feel good because I did not have that. I grew up in chaos. My home was chaos. Outside of my home was chaos. My school was chaos. Everything was chaos. And the only time I felt at peace and safe was when I was creating art. When my dad passed away, that was when I really tapped into it. And I was like, all I wanted to do was paint. It was a lonely time for me, and it felt like art was the only thing I had.
Did you feel like the artwork healed you?
Yeah, I remember specific pieces where I was like, I need to get this out. I literally wrote on a big canvas, wrote a letter with flowers and stuff to my dad. And it wasn't a nice letter either. It was like, I was just saying everything. It definitely healed me.
Art is there for many reasons, and healing is absolutely a theme with pretty much all the artists I've talked to. Early life as an artist, when was that transition where you're like, I am a professional artist?
I went to USC. Around the time I was about to graduate, I had like my first art show, and I started to be around a lot of creative people. Everybody around me was creative, and they were like, I'm going to chase my dream of being this creative person in whatever form. And I think that gave me the push to be like, well, I want to do that too. I worked as a graphic designer for like 6 months. I didn't like the office thing, so I quit in November, and then the Art Basel happened in December. And I was like, nope, I'm just gonna do art.
I knew those crystals were working. All of your pieces, I can tell, are very emotionally charged, but no matter what they're about, I feel like a deep sense of peace and serenity and healing that it seems like painting them must have given you, but also the viewer feels it.
Yeah, and I've been getting that response a lot lately. And that's the feeling that I have when I'm creating them. So it's like this energy is being transferred into this painting. The viewers are being able to feel that too, which I think is so interesting.
I'm curious about the meanings behind the pieces.
As an artist, we're always like evolving. I'm so curious. I question everything. Now I'm shifting to questioning race and culture because I've been traveling so much the past few years. I've been able to like really see the world and starting to question like my own history. Because for a long time, I didn't know that when you're a Hispanic or a Latino person, that's not a race, that's an ethnicity, you know? So I went into like deep dive, like, oh, I'm a mixture of these races, which means that also I'm a mixture of these spiritual practices, indigenous practices.
It seems like with your artwork, there's a mixture of processing emotions and healing, but then also I see a lot of symbolism in your artwork too, and I know there's a lot of research behind that.
Yeah, so I'm bridging Christianity because that's my introduction to religion or spirituality in general with my research and new understanding of indigenous practices. So I'm putting a lot of tribal patterns into the halos. Now, the tribal patterns, they're very hard to like research in terms of what each one means because the history is so lost, but it's still very ingrained in like the textiles that you see when you go to different countries and like you do meet these indigenous tribes.
So how much of it is intuitive? Because it seems very spiritual and very personal.
I would say it's like a 50-50 thing. And I do believe that there is an intuition that comes from my ancestral lineage that is like informing my practice.
Yeah, there has to be something that's pushing you to do this research and to learn these ancient parts of your heritage that is even hard to get the answers for, to find where to research or where to go to.
It's so hard.
Yeah.
to work in your higher purpose is really special, and you can tell in an artist's work. Whenever I create, by the end of the piece, a realization comes like, oh, okay, wow, there's this higher meaning behind it that didn't even click until I finished.
It's the same for me. I'm not really telling the painting what to do. It's actually telling me something at the end of it. It's almost like a message to yourself in a way.
Yeah, a message to yourself from your higher self or something.
Or somewhere else.
Yeah. We're here at Artsy Kids. For people that don't know Artsy Kids, what is Artsy Kids?
It's an art program for kids, and we focus on using art as a form of self-care. So a lot of our classes are focused on the process of creating art versus the outcome, but we do also have like skill-based classes too. We have a bunch of different programs, tons of different curriculums, so we just always bridge art with something else. So whether it's like art and mental health, creating projects that bridge those two things together, or art and culture. Our audience is mostly 5 to 13 now.
How did Artsy Kids begin? I'm guessing it was after your art career began as well.
And yeah, actually kind of around the same time. And I had this, straight out of college, I didn't have any artist parents or like artist people in my life. So I had no idea. I was like so naive to how it all works. So in my head, I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna come out of college and like, I'm gonna make some money with my art. I'm gonna fund this program.
Yes, that's what I love about being that age, is that you're just like, I can do anything, which is true.
Yeah.
But you're really like, nothing's gonna stop me.
Once you're in it, you kind of like, you're like, I'm not gonna stop now. I was out here just passing out flyers at like the art events that I was doing live paintings at, and honestly, everything just kind of flowed from there. It just came to me. So I've never felt like I've forced anything with Artsy Kids.
So we have all of the courses for Artsy Kids, and then you have these exhibitions too.
The art show is after the 10-week program. So there's one specific program we have, it's called Blooming Minds. For that program, we do an art exhibition at the end of it where the families come and it's like legit art show.
Coming to one of those, it's just such a special moment, because even if the kids don't fully comprehend, you see their whole face and their whole spirit just light up, because they have their art there. People are coming to appreciate their art, to ask about their artwork, and it just seems like such a confidence booster. And that's so special to have from a young age, because you need that. You need that encouragement of, oh, okay, with whatever I want to do, I can do that.
I think, that's a big part of the program, is them building confidence. So we also do, after every class, like this sharing time, 10 minutes at the end of class. And if you want to share, you can. If you don't have to. But even something like that, like talking about your art in front of people. The parents are like, my kid does not talk in front of people. How do you get them to present their artwork in front of everybody? And it's like this confidence that's built up, but I think it's also because of the environment that we've created, where it's a safe place for them to stand up and they know that nothing bad is gonna happen.
That's so cool, because we know as artists, being able to speak about your art and conceptualize your art, that's a huge part of the journey of being an artist. And so that's very cool to be able to conceptualize what your piece is about when you're a child,
The confidence, because that goes with you, as an adult. I mean, I'm sure many of us were traumatized by that one time we went in front of the classroom and people laughed at us, and then it didn't happen to me, but I can imagine, it's like that
one time in improv class in 7th grade.
Right? I would never stand up in front of anybody and say anything ever again.
As an artist, I used to create because I didn't have the words to even express how I felt. What I was creating was the best way that I could express myself, and the most accurate way that I could express myself.
Yeah, I feel the same way. That's what it was for me, because I didn't have the words to talk about the things that I had gone through. And it was just me putting it on a canvas. Yeah.
And I feel like as we grow as artists too, we find different aspects of our purpose within our purpose, if that makes sense. So it's like you're an artist, but now you're giving all of these opportunities through the arts to the generation under you, which is really beautiful. As an independent artist, what do you think about artists disrupting the system of needing gallery representation? Because now you have your own gallery space. So to me, you're disrupting that system that has been there and really creating these opportunities for yourself. And while you're doing that, you know, creating it for others. You have a gallery space for other artists to show in, as well as yourself.
For me, it just happened naturally. Like, I had no choice. This last show I had in this space was really special to me because that's always been the hardest thing for me, is to find a space. I'm not gonna wait for people to just give me an opportunity. I think it's important for artists to take that responsibility for themselves if they want their career to grow. For me, it's huge to have my own space. That's the only thing that has ever stopped me from having a show, specifically when I wanted to have it. It's just been like my journey that I've just been forced on. It's been forced upon me. And maybe that's like a really great thing, you know, but it definitely has been challenging.
Yeah, I think it's more like, instead of forced, it's more gifted on you.
Yeah,
like, that's such an amazing thing to have, to be an artist, to have your own gallery space, to be able to host art exhibitions for other artists, for young artists at Artsy Kids. I mean, you're elevating so many artists at so many stages in their careers and in their practice from like, what, 6 years old, you know? That's really amazing. You're able to elevate yourself and at the same time elevate others with you. So that's a really beautiful thing. It's bringing community into the arts.
I think now, having the space, it makes sense, you know? But when I was in that challenging part, I didn't understand why that was happening. And then now it feels like it makes more sense, you know?
It's a hindsight kind of thing.
Right, right. And I think the best part of it all is that it allows me to give other artists the opportunity to, and I know, being on their side, to how hard it is to find a space, and also just how hard it is to put on a show. So I try to also help them with that when they do rent out the space. It allows me to be more of a mentor.
Yeah. As artists, if we can also be in those mentor spaces or advocacy spaces, because the art world, when it comes to the business of art, isn't necessarily in favor of the artist. The rules around the business of art isn't made for the artist to profit like it should, you know? When there are people that are here as an artist for the artist, that's something I know both of us would have loved to have earlier on in our careers, because a lot of things, you know, we had to figure out and learn the hard way. And I feel like now we're both very confident in the business side of it, you know, we're confident in contracts. We know what's acceptable and what's not acceptable.
Do you think it's better for artists to carve their own paths?
It depends on the artist and what aligns with them. This career is so spiritual that things really do flow naturally, and you don't even know how to explain how some of the things really, the answers come to you. It's a flow because you're in alignment, and that's just what it is. And there's no one fits all. What's amazing now is there is, you know, a plethora of options for us. You know, there's not just like, this is one way to make it and that's all. Like now we have, all right, this is a great option, or this is a great option, or I can do this myself, or I can figure out how to do this.
I think you just have to be open.
You do have to be open.
And how it happens. You cannot have like a set strategy.
Almost planning it is
counters it.
Yeah, counters it. Also being open to the outcome and not be rigid with your outcome.
Yeah.
Because sometimes things unfold that are even better or just different than what you anticipated, but it's right, you know? It's more in alignment than...
Absolutely. And that's what happened with the space. When I thought everything was over and I was ready to let it go, and it happened at the perfect time. But it was just the alignment of it. And once it came, like, I had to go. And I think that's the most important thing when building any type of art business, is your resilience.
There is almost a crazy resilience that is built within you if you are an artist, because every artist has those times where we're just like, what did I get myself into?
Yeah.
And then there's also these awesome moments of validation in your art career where you're like, all right, this is why I'm doing what I'm doing. You know, there's no reason to do anything else. It doesn't even make sense to do anything.
Right. What else would I do? Yeah.
It's not a career where you're just like, all right, should I do this or be an artist or do this? It's like, no, it chooses you. The career path of an artist chooses you.
That's a good way to put it.